test the sound volume out right now. All right, it's testing. On the stream, but why? I guess I'll have the training dummy be Line. I don't like this character, so she's going to be the training dummy. I mean, she does have some good colors, though. I'm kind of feeling this one. Is this going to be archived anywhere? It's going to be a Twitch VOD, and later I'm going to, I guess, just put it on a YouTube channel. Yeah, VODs are definitely enabled. So, what theme? I like Forceful Step. Yeah, we'll go with that, Forceful Step. Alright, so this is going to be broken down into, I guess, sections. So first I'm going to go over just basic character info, like movement options, health, vocal trait, just like the really basic stuff. Then normals, specials, you know, including metered options, basic guidelines for pressure, combo theory, and defensive options. And then I will, I guess, look at chat and then have a kind of Q&A about anything that was maybe unclear, or some things you want to, you know more about on a subject that I touched on, but maybe didn't go super in depth. But that's going to be the general flow and format of this. So I guess let's just hop right into it. So Wagner is a character. She's a rushdown character. Her goal is to basically get in by any means possible, using her really excellent normals at close and mid-range. Use her excellent stagger buttons to kind of make the opponent second guess, you know, where to mash or where to throw out a defensive option, and then punish them for it. She has really high damage across the board. The best corner carry in the game, so her reward off practically anything is super high. Movement. Her walk speed is nothing really special. It's actually pretty slow. It's not like she has like Orien's walk speed or anything. But for movement, she uses mostly her dash and her specials to move around the field anyway. Health. She has 10,000 health. That's the second lowest health in the game. Only Seth has lower, and she's tied with Hyde. So she definitely takes damage. She's pretty frail, so she can't take too many hits. Backdash. Backdash is, it's okay. Mostly good for gaining space. It is airborne and has a slight bit of invincibility. So you can definitely use this, you know, while you're in pressure to evade attacks. It's not really used as an offensive tool like Hyde, Gordo, You know, sometimes Line, Akatsuki. You can use it in pressure during a couple times, like if you're trying to bait out delay throw tech, but that's something I'll go over later. Forward dash. Forward dash's speed, it's pretty good. The acceleration is on it is really good, although she doesn't top out at a super high speed. But this does mean she gets lots of opportunities for tick throws because her dash has a really fast acceleration. So you can do like blocking, like stuff like that. So really fast acceleration means that when she's in there, you know, she can just keep going in, go for throws, you know, go for like run up assault, things like that. She doesn't have any extra aerial mobility options aside from, you know, the universal one, assault. She can use her charge 236 in the air to kind of avoid anti-airs and stall her air momentum. It's also an overhead, so that's nice to know. But other than that, she doesn't have a lot of real aerial mobility. So I would say her strengths, you know, like I said before, being high damage, being able to cover ground really fast using her specials, and her normals have really good hitboxes. Some of them are disjoints. And I would say her weaknesses are, it can kind of be hard for her to contest more aerial characters without, you know, doing huge commitments. Having low health, so in scrambles she can really suffer if she gets, you know, takes a big hit. But other than that, she's a very good character, very solid all around her. So I guess with that being said, we will go into normals. So 5A, 5 frames, has a really good hitbox. Starts, I think, a little bit above her head. So when somebody gets in on you, if they're jumping, doing really close jumps, and you just need a button to press, you can press 5A, and a lot of times it'll work out. Like, we're gonna have Line do jump C. Oh, I missed that time. Ah, God, I missed again. Fuck. God damn it. This move is good, guys, I swear. There we go. So, like, you can use it very close ranges. Jump cancelable, so you get a small confirm. It's also only slightly minus on block. So it's also really easy to stagger with. So very useful button. Most common, you were probably going to either mash with this or 2A or ADP, which, you know, I'll go over all those later. 5B, 7 frames, actually pretty big for a 7-frame button. And the end of her foot has no hurt box, so it's just a disjoint. A really good poke when you're in that kind of close mid-range option. And a lot of characters, for its speed, a lot of characters really can't contest this button because of the disjoint. And like 5A, it also has a really good stagger window. I'm probably going to be saying that sentence a lot because pretty much everything on this character has a very good stagger window. .5C is bigger than 5B, but this does extend her hurt box more. So it is actually capable of getting whiff punished. Like, probably at around where the end of her cape is where the hurt box is. So if that whiffs and then somebody sticks out a button, like right there, and catches the cape, you're probably getting hit. But again, it's a very fast button for its size, really good stagger window, and this is one of her normals that can be charged. You can charge 5C, and it launches on hit. Just like that, and then that. Rebeatable. And it's a pretty convenient way to get it confirmed, like that. Like, you can... Just something like that. A little bit of combo theory. But 5C rebeat 2A is -1. So is regular 5C 2A and 5A too, because they both have the same frame data. So that's both -1. 2A, 5 frames. It's a low. It's actually, I think, the second biggest 5 frame in the game, or second biggest 2A low in the game. I mean, only Phonon has one that's bigger. That's 5 frames anyway. Again, super good stagger window. Can Gatling into itself. This is probably the one of the cornerstones of your pressure. You just want to run up 2A, have them block it, and then they're in a pretty bad scenario. (2B) is 9 frames, and this is kind of the black sheep of Wagner's normals. It's slower than average, I'd say, for a 2B. Doesn't have any like real special properties. The stagger window on it is super whatever. You're mostly going to be wanting to use 2C over this. I would say the only reason you would like kind of use 2B to mash out instead of 2C is because it has a slightly bigger vertical hitbox. Other than that, this is almost just a filler normal. (2C) is, again, very excellent normal. No hurtbox on her feet. 9 frames, very fast. More than likely, you're going to be able to get a combo on trade because of the massive on tech time. And she can even combo on it on hit, even without the, after a rebeat, even without a counter hit. So it's a very good tool. It's bigger than 2B horizontally, but it's very susceptible to getting basically hopped over, high crushed. If your character has a hot move, it can get blown up, so don't go mashing it. But generally, a lot of times in that close mid-range option, it's a good option to just press. And because of the hurtbox, the no hurtbox on her feet, it will beat out a lot of things. So, jumping normals. JA, mostly you're going to be doing this off assault, or if you're doing like the 5A anti-air confirm I was doing earlier. If she does this off assault, it surpasses overhead at 22 frames. It's very punishable on block though, so don't get it blocked. She can do it rising for kind of like a ghetto fuzzy setup, but overall, it's okay. It's not the worst tool. JB is again kind of a filler normal. No real special, nothing really special about it. On assault, it whiffs crouching, so you can kind of do that to do a feint throw setup, like you feint the overhead and then throw. Other than that, again, that button is kind of super whatever. It's like the 2B of her air normals. JC. Now this is a button. This is a very good button. It covers a ton of space. It is her premier air to air, air to ground, air to practically pretty much everything. This button is so good you can like hit them from half screen away with Assault C, and even if they don't get hit, they still blocked, which means they are still in the pressure. Like it covers so much space, it's just ridiculous. Oftentimes it'll catch people, like you just run up and do it, and it'll catch people backdashing a lot. This is definitely her best assault normal, probably one of her best normals, just period. JC is just the god. Like 5C, it can also be charged. When it's charged, it's plus on shield, so she retains her turn after it. So you can, again, you can use this kind of like in assault mix-ups. Like you can just do regular JC, you can do charge JC if they're just kind of mindlessly fuzzying the overhead versus landing things. Or you can even just do, you can feint it by charging it late and then go for like throw. Or like feint it and then go for like another overhead or like assault JA. So JC, very, 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 very good tool. This is the button you're going to be pressing almost all of the time when you are in the air. J2C is her dive kick. Important thing to note is that it moves her forward a little bit. You can see I'm crossing up Line. Dive kick never hits cross up though, and it can never be plus. At best, you are -2. On stand block, I believe you're -5, which means that's a punish for... Every character can punish it via throw, actually. But some characters get a bigger punish with their 5A, or whatever 5-frame normal, or 5-frame option that they have. Mostly used in combos, and then post-CS scrambles. Like if you think someone's going to throw, you just do instant dive kick and it'll beat the throw. Alright, on to command normals. So 6B. It's a very good poke. Goes just about as far as 5C, a little bit shorter. Again, has a massive stagger window. And the best thing about this move is that both hits can be reverse beaten on block. So if you reverse beat into 5A or 2, if you reverse beat into A normal, it's 0 on block. And if you reverse beat after the second hit, it's a -1. Both hits will come out no matter what, which means, again, if the first hit whiffs due to something like backdash, it'll more often than not catch the end of the backdash. Like that. So very good tool, non-committal tool to catch things like backdashes, and it's just a really good button to throw out in general. (6C), this is your standing overhead. It's not too useful as an overhead because it has a very obvious, animation. But one of the things it's best at is low crushing. So if the opponent likes to poke out with lows, like Line commonly pokes out with 2B, like I think, yeah, that's crouch B. So like, I hopped over the 2B. You get your confirm. Like that. Again, it can be used to catch people just crouch blocking if they're sleeping. If you know they're going to shield, you can hard call it out with 6C. But this move generally is mostly used as a low crush tool. What's the other one? 3C. This is your main anti-air. It's pretty good. Head invul starts really early. It doesn't go as high as like hides or something, I would say, but it's generally a decent tool to have. Again, you can rebeat it. And even on hit, if you rebeat it and are fast enough, you get a combo, even on non-counter hit. Oops. That's the wrong option. There we go. You know, you get yourself a confirm. Obviously, you know, you can do more than that. That was just the easiest thing that came to mind right now. But again, super good tool. This one does not have much of a stagger window. It's like almost 2 Bs. So if you press a button, you're probably going to want to cancel, and it gets blocked, you're going to want to press something as fast as you can, because it's really hard to stagger. Like, I can't stagger there. Like, I have to press like 5B pretty fast. Alright, so that just about does it for normals. So again, you really want to stay in this kind of up close range, up close to mid-range, and just kind of bully them with your normals, because like, no hurt box, goes really far, and all of them have pretty good stagger windows, so you can keep your opponent on their toes as to when you're going to run in or do a special or something like that. So we'll go over specials now. She has 5 specials. She has a 236, 214, J236, 623, and 22. So I guess we'll start with 236. These are her sword drills. Starts up on frame 10. Pretty fast travel distance. Can be canceled into... You can press another button again for a follow-up like that, but you can't do anything unless you have something I'll go over later. But this part can be canceled into J236, which is a move J236C, which is a move I'll go over later. But generally, your only options for this are if you have sword buff or if you have meter. You can cancel this as soon as it hits the ground. So you can cancel it into metered options. Uh, 236B is basically your way of chasing down aerial characters. It has head and dive invul, I believe. I know it has head invul. I'd have to double check on the dive. But it's pretty good for catching characters who just want to up back. And this is cancelable on whip. So if you made like a pretty bad miscalculation, but they're still somewhere like near under you, you could just do that, and that super is safe. It's 0. .236C goes at the same angle as 236B does. Only on hit, it does a kick that sends them back down to the ground, allowing you to go for extensions. So, you know, you can do something like that if you catch someone in the air. Or, you know, you can just, if you have a really awkward confirm that you just want to get a decent amount of damage off of, you can pretty much slap 236C in there, and that'll always give you a decent boost along with like some carry. A thing to note about that though is that the kick always side swaps. So let's say you are like mashing out in the corner. The kick side swaps. But if you have them in the corner, this generally isn't the best move to go for, simply because you will lose corner unless you have sword buff. So J236, I briefly went over this when I was, you know, discussing movement options, but it's just a dive. Like the other ones, it can be canceled if you press a button and go into the little flame spiral, but you can't cancel it into anything else after that unless you spend meter or have sword buff or use CS. A version goes almost directly beneath her. B version goes at a slightly different angle. They both do the same amount of damage. And if you charge it, it's an overhead. So it can be like cheeky for like useful run up TK stuff. It's kind of a gimmick, but it catches people sometimes. It's like have her block, like she blocked that, but she has to block that standing. J236C. This move is also really good. It's not an overhead though, it's a mid. What's really good about this move is that it's, as I mentioned, it's safe on block, it's 0 on block. There's something I'm going to mention with this move, off of a different move. You guys that, you know, watched me and seen me play, you probably know what I'm talking about already. But I will go over that later. 2-on-4 is her shield charge move. A version goes it goes shorter, B version goes farther, C version is an EX move. It takes them all the way to corner. Confirm off it. It's pretty nice, although it's slow. The main reason you would use 2-on-4C is mostly for the projectile invincibility. Even then, though, it's pretty slow and won't catch them if they're too far away. Like there, I just went through the Kuga. She has better ways of dealing with projectiles, though, that I'll get to later. So with 2-on-4A and 2-on-4B, these moves are really good. They have a pretty good hitbox. And probably the most important thing about them is that they have varying frame data. So if you do it up close, it's just straight up punishable. Oops, that's not blocking. This is blocking. So we're gonna have Line do 5A. It's 5 frames. So I do that, I get punished. I do it a little bit further, I'm safe. And if I do it spaced just right, I think about here, yeah, then I'm plus. 2-on-4B is a bit harder to space just because it goes further, but this might, wait, maybe here's like plus. Oh no, that was 0. Yeah, 2-on-4A is going to be the one you do mostly in pressure. 2-on-4B is mostly used for shield buff, and I'll get to that when, you know, when I get to her buffs. Another thing about these moves is that they can be charged. So when they're charged and the opponent blocks it, they get sent flying. You can't unblockable them. They are completely invincible until they reach the ground. Like they are 5B whiffed. But it's really good for kind of throwing off your enemy's positioning and taking them that much closer to corner. You can also like delay charge into it for frame traps. A really important thing to know is that shielding, we'll have her shield. Normally these moves are cancelable into other specials. So you can do like 2-on-4A, 236A, 2-on-4A, 2AD, 2-on-4A, ADP. But on shield, they become totally uncancelable unless you use meter or CS. So shield is definitely something you have to watch out for. You can't really use this move recklessly. And if you shield it, when they're popped into the air, they get to do an air action. Some air actions will outright punish your charged shield charge, so be very careful of that. Like, what are you doing J236C? Or maybe this is it. So when I do this, Line should be able to EX Kuga, yeah. And if I had pressed the button there, I would have got counter hit. I have to respect it. So if you shield this and you're put in the air, lab out your character's options for punishing that. I think most every character has some way to punish charged 2-on-4A or 2-on-4B on block. Or at the very least, you have to, like, she has to block after it. She loses her turn immediately. Okay, now let's get to a very, very fun move. So she does have DPs. She has ADP, she has BDP, and she has CDP. ADP, ADP is a very fun move. I like using this move a lot. It's a 5 frames. It's a very, very good tool to mash with because you get combo on trade and a pretty damaging combo too. And on block, it is cancelable all the way until you reach the ground. And even when you reach the ground, you can cancel landing recovery by canceling it into a EX move. So there's lots of things you can do this move. You can do like ADP, J236C, and that's, like I said, J236C is 0. A 0 on block. It's minus 3 on shield. You can confirm off it like that too. You can do ADP 22C. You can do immediate ADP J236C, so it's gapless, so they can't DP in the gap or press anything. You can frame trap with J236C. Or you can just do the most godlike hard read and you can Sivo off it. This is actually my personal favorite. It's a really, really big gamble to do, but it's really high reward and it's really funny when it works. I don't recommend actively doing this all the time, it's just fun. But again, the main reason you'd want to use it is just because even though it's not invul, it's her biggest 5-frame mash option with huge reward on hit, trade, and she can even steal her turn with it on block if she has meter. BDP, pretty standard DP, 5 frames. Uncancelable with anything though on block. You can only cancel it with CS on hit. I messed it up. But yeah, there are combo routes you can do off DP. CDP is pretty big. It is also 3 frames. The only 3-frame DP in the game, aside from Eltnam's CDP. And because it's 3 frames, that means it cannot be safe jumped. It can't be safe jumped normally. Some characters can be outside of its range. I know Merkava has setups like that. I think Seth does too. But most characters basically have to hard bait CDP because they can't safe jump it. It also has more advantage on hit than BDP. Like BDP, they can air tech. CDP, they can't. This is also her super with the highest minimum damage, so if you were just looking to close out the end of the round, you want to end combos in CDP. So, finally, let's get to the buffs. So this is probably the most important thing about playing Wagner, is utilizing her buffs well. So she has 22A, which is sword buff, 22B, shield buff, and then 22C, which buffs both. And that also has some special properties, which I'll get into that later when I go into 22C more in depth. So 22A, sword buff. Your sword normals start doing chip. and you get cancel points off the sword drill things I was telling you about. Like, you know how normally I couldn't follow this up with anything, right? Unless I spent meter on it. With sword buff, I can do things like this. You get a cancel point off it, or you can. The easiest thing to do is just go into the charge version of 236 off that. That's generally what you're going to be doing most of the time on hit. On block, you get lots of mix-ups. So we'll set her to block. Standing. You get overhead, double overhead, feint overhead in the throw, charge overhead, that's still plus. Feint overhead in the low. So you get lots of mix-ups. You get lots of mix-ups off this, especially in the corner. But as soon as you use a buff, as soon as I use the follow-up off 236A, then sword buff disappears. And I would have to reapply it again. Buffs also go away when Wagner gets hit. Like right there, I lost my sword buff. Shield buff gives 214A, 214B, and her force function, which I'll go over later, guard point. It also makes them. It also gives them a lot more block stun, and most of the time it's plus. Like 214A at minimum, like 214A from here with shield buff would be 0. Like ADP there. This is the confirm I was talking about. I'm just gonna do it for fun. There you go. There's the ADP trade combo, or one of them. You can get higher damage, but that's just the easiest thing. 214B, when done up close with this, is still a bit negative, but you don't get punished. You get guard point on these moves starting from frame 7, and the longer you charge it, the more guard point you have. This is also her best starter. Look how much damage she took. While you're traveling with guard point, or while you're traveling with charged, or with buffed 214, you also get a bit of projectile involved when you start traveling. Like, I just went through the Kuka. If you do it early enough, though, the projectile will strike the guard point. It gives them a little bit more time to react, other than just completely involing through it. And 2-2C. This is the move everyone complains about when they're like, oh, you know, Wagner is so overpowered. She needs nerfs. You know, nerf Wagner, buff Yuzu, buff Seth, buff every other character because they don't have 2-2C and Wagner does. So 2-2C on block is very plus. It's +9. It gives you both buffs. So you are in a really good position after they block this. You know, you can do 5B, which is gapless. And again, because you have buffs, once you start getting them in the pressure, then they're taking chip damage. And again, a lot of their stuff is gapless, so they can't really contest until they start trying to shield you out, which has its own risks, of course. So a thing to notice about 2-2C, it has pretty low minimum damage, or pretty low damage in general. Like, compare that was 1304, like compare that to CDP, which is 1854. So the thing about 2-2C when you use it in a combo is if you have no buffs, then they can tech in the air. If you have one buff, it does more damage, or pretty low damage in general. You know, nerf Wagner, buff Yuzu, buff Seth, buff every other character because they don't have 2-2C and Wagner does. So 2-2C on block is very plus. It's +9. It gives you both buffs. So you are in a really good position after they block this. You know, you can do 5B, which is gapless. And again, because you have buffs, once you start getting them in the pressure, then they're taking chip damage. And again, a lot of their stuff is gapless, so they can't really contest until they start trying to shield you out, which has its own risks, of course. So a thing to notice about 2-2C, it has pretty low minimum damage, or pretty low damage in general. Like, compare that was 1304, like compare that to CDP, which is 1854. So the thing about 2-2C when you use it in a combo is if you have no buffs, then they can tech in the air. If you have one buff, it does more damage, and they can't tech in the air at all. And if you have both buffs, it does even more damage, but consumes them and leaves a damage over time burn. This burn does 900 damage if they are close, if you are close to them, and it has a minimum of 450. And I think it goes away entirely if you are more than half screen away. If you, just like the buffs themselves, if you get hit or you tech a throw, then the burn goes away. Buffs don't go away on throw tech though, only burn does. Oh wait, no, I have to set the health, not regen. And her health is, you know, slowly ticking away, as you can see. And that's going to last until 900 damage is dealt, or until she either hits me or techs a throw. So again, this move is very, very powerful. You know, if you have them cornered, it's a pressure reset tool. You can go for mix-up after it because it's so plus. You can charge in with 214A or 236A. Like, let's say round 2, I have 100 meter, and I think the opponent's going to either press a button or just sit there and block or dash block into me. I can just do this. And now they're in the pressure. Like stuff like that. So you have basically 3 mix-up attempts. And should you fail, you can just kind of slap it again if you built the meter for it during the block string. This character can keep going for a very long time. Again, unless you shield her properly, but she has counterplay around that. So obviously, you know, be careful where you shield. Special I didn't go over. 2 AD, -3. It is a hit grab, and it's also a low. So, like, you can't block that standing. Like, she'll block that and get hit by that. It's generally not too useful as a mix-up tool. It's an extra low, I guess. Its most common use, though, you'll see people doing like force function. I'm going to go over this move in a minute. Like force function to 2 AD that catches people off guard. So now let's talk about force function. Definitely one of the staple moves in her kit. Force function can be charged, and it's an overhead. Normally it's just a mid. Why this move is so good though is that, again, like I mentioned with the 2-2B earlier with shield buff, it gets guard point. Oh, buttons. You get a full confirm off that. It's 4K, and I barely even tried. So that's a very, very high damage confirm too. If you don't have shield buff though, the damage is lower. It's about as much as like 6C. Like I got 500 damage more when it was buffed. So buff decreases the proration on it, gives it armor. And regardless of no matter what, it also has projectile. It breaks projectiles. So I'll have Line do Kuga. Projectile break starts on frame 3. And when you break a projectile, it becomes special cancelable. So very good way to punish people for just throwing projectiles at you. It's not instant though, so you do have to time it. But again, since the projectile break is so fast, it's really good for just saying no to things like Kuga, you know, Hide Fireball, Akatsuki Fireball. If you're really, really, really good, you can like use it preemptively against stuff like Batista Laser. That's generally not a risk I go for though. I'm probably just gonna block it. And finally, we have her Infinite Worth. I have Circle Forward D. And this move is very important because it's her only horizontal reversal. So at some ranges where people are pressuring you and you can't really do anything about it, if you have 200 meter and VO, then you have a chance to hit them with her IW, but the startup is pretty slow. It is very active though, and it has a hitbox behind her. So if somebody, like, let's say Hyde does like 6xc and you just wake up and do it, he's gonna get hit even though he's behind you. And her IWEX. It's an IWEX. Pretty long animation. This move is so cool though. She just like opens up the gates and just fire rains down. It's a pretty nice move. It's a pretty standard IWEX. There's this move is so cool though. She just like opens up the gates and just fire rains down. It's a pretty nice move. It's a pretty standard IWEX. There's nothing really much to say about that. You either need 200 meter, veil off state, or yeah, 200 meter or veil off state, and it grid breaks you if you don't have Whirlpool. So that's all of her moves. So I guess we'll go on to the pressure section. So generally with pressure, this character has one of two goals. Either make you block for so long that she's pushed into the range where 214A is plus, and then makes you guess between is she going to actually 214A because I need to shield that, or is she going to like do run up throw or like run up assault or like assault C. So like you push yourself out to like somewhere towards here, and then 214A starts becoming plus, and then they have to play the RPS of is she going to dash in or is she just going to do that. She can frame trap into it too. Let's say all those frame traps don't work. Then you can just slap 2-2C, get your turn again. You know, she didn't get opened up. So you can vary your strings a lot in order to score the throw. Her throw is pretty good. I forgot to go over that. Throw is pretty nice. Has the 3rd highest damage in the game, and it's very plus. So you can sneak a buff after it. So you can do like buff 2-2A, buff 2-2B. These have varying frame advantages. 2-2B is slightly slower. Oh, and her Vorpal trait. So our Vorpal trait is that buffs come faster, 2 frames faster. So let's say I don't have Vorpal compared to when I do. So yeah, buffs come faster. So that changes things a lot in the corner. Let's say you throw someone and you have sword buff, you can 5A and it's meaty, you are +2. But if I didn't have sword buff, I'll have Line do 5A on wake up. Ah, I can't do 2-2 for some reason. Like, so throw 2-2A is 0, non-Vorpal, which means if the opponent has a 5-frame option, they can mash. However, if you want to be the god, you do this, non-Vorpal. Again, that's a fun thing I like to try just to see if they know that throw 2-2A is 0 non-Vorpal. Never go for throw 2-2B if you are not in Vorpal, because that's just straight up minus. It's okay to do if you are on Vorpal, because then it's 0. Ah, let me do it. There we go. So it's okay to do if you have Vorpal, because then it's 0. But mostly, if you throw someone and get a buff, you're going to want to just go straight into 2-2A. It's the safest thing to do. So mid-screen pressure is basically just you get in, you make them block something. Let's say they block 5B. Let's turn this off. Like, they just block 5B. You mix it up between stagger stuff and like just running back in. It's really good to end on 6B 2A because this is 0. So you can make them think that, you know, oh, I'm going to mash because, you know, he's 0 here. He's going to run back in. But then you just like 5B them. Like 6B 2A 5A, like 5B is really good because of the disjoint. It means that almost everything that tries to challenge this just flat out loses. Like, let's say Line is trying to, I don't know, yeah, like 5A. She's mashing 5A because she thinks I'm going to run back in. Like that. Uh, 2C 2A is also -1. A pretty good rebeat to layer your pressure with. Because the stagger window is so big, you can just like do like 2C like 6B, 2C no cancel, run up throw, like 2C 2A, keep your advantage, and then like assault. And then when you're in the corner, like I said, your main goal is to run that RPS when you are about right here. A lot of people will start shielding when you're right here because, you know, they don't want to have you charge in and be plus. And then you can just like push yourself out here, and then you get the read on the shield, and then you just like throw them. Then they're out, then they're without a shield, and you just get to go to town on them. for mix-ups, you know, I covered you have Assault JA. This is only cancelable on hit. Never crouching. And it's only cancelable with CS. You get decent reward off it, you know, 3k if you spend 100 meter. That's fine for like a pretty fast overhead like that. Again, you have force function 2 AD because this is an overhead and this is a low. You don't have to charge it. You can just like do that. So if they're blocking high expecting the overhead, then they'll just get hit. And then you can CS it. You can only cancel that with CS. And again, I've covered basically how you're plus with these. So let's say you hit somebody, right? Gapless. It's plus. Then you get your turn again, and then you can go for like mix up from here. Let's say they block that. And you still have meter. You get to go again. And then let's say, obviously you don't have to do throw, and you shouldn't do throw after you've burned all your resources, because that's the most common. That's basically going to be what people are looking for. So you can just end strings abruptly to throw them off with throw, and then they start getting antsy and start mashing. That's the basic strike throw of this game. But that's basically what you want to do in pressure. Just either find a way to get to this kind of like sweet spot, or you can just run in, you know, maul them, keep up the pressure, go for throws a lot. Really, you want to do a mix of the two. Alright, let's go to combos. So, the main thing with Wagner combos is you have one of two goals. You either want to get the corner, or you want to get double buff. You can spend meter to get both. But meterless, that's generally what you want to do. So let's say like I'm starting from here. Oh, I messed up. Like bam. That's corner. Or you can side swap. It's a much easier route. But your good starters are pretty much everything that is in 2A, 5A, and 2B. And those are called good starters because you can't link into force function, grab a buff, and then do something off those starters. Like, I could do this, right? But I can't do this. So, basically, you know, off 6B, you go into that. You know, off 5C, you can do that. Messed up the second dash link, but yeah, you get the combo theory, basically. So that's generally what you want to do in the mid-range. If you don't want to get the corner, but you want double buff, you can do this route. It's less damage and less carry, but you do get double buff. Two-way routes they're pretty simple. This is the route I do anyway, because that shield stuff is too hard. That's the route I do off 2A. You can optimize it by like doing 2A,
Welcome back to climb. Stagger,
All
nice
stagger
tech.
pressure.
10 seconds left on the clock.
He's got one mix-up.
Most likely it won't be.
Grid advantage. Let's see what he's gonna do.
2 on 4A, but this route is just simple and does similar damage. You can do something similar off. You can do like the same route off 2A, and then off 2B is weird because if it counter hits, then it becomes a good starter. Like you can do the whole 2B, 5C, 2C force function combo, but you can't on normal hit. So like that whiffs, but this will hit. Oops, there we go. 2B, 2C. Corner routes, her routing doesn't really change that much, except you do 2 on 4A into force function and then grab the buff from there. So for metered enders, you have 2-2C again. Without buffs, they can air tech. So you can kind of go for tech chase stuff. Alright, let's say they, I think, where's teching? That's neutral tech. That should be forward tech and then back. Yeah, so let's say she back techs, so that's back tech. And then let's say she forward techs. Like bam. You can just do like backdash. Backdash 6B covers a lot of options post tech. There's a combo doc I can link. I guess I'll just put it in the comments. Or I'll have it on my Twitter. But there's a combo doc. I can't really sit here and go over all of Wagner's combo theory. Or all of her combos, but I can go over combo theory. So again, generally in the corner, if you get a good starter, then you can get the burn status I was talking about. Even if you don't. Normally those combos are in Vorpal. But recently there was a route discovered where you can get burn even non-Vorpal, which is good because burn does the 900 damage, and it also guarantees you a buff, one buff and Oki. So like Lena has Vorpal, right? So the normal burn route is this. It's pretty good, right? You know, did 4.7. Is going to burn them for another 900. But because of her Vorpal trait, she can't do this route. She can't do this route non-Vorpal. Like that. It just drops. So what you can do instead is this. Like bam, we still got the burn. We're still gonna get Oki. We can run under them. The timing is supposed to. They're supposed to stay in the corner, but that timing is really, really finicky. So most of the time when I don't have Vorpal, I'm just probably just going to do this route because they're what 90% in the corner anyway. And also, one other thing to note about Wagner's combos is that she probably has the easiest time comboing into Veloff in the game, and while losing nothing for it. So let's say, I don't know, Lena has Warple, right? I have Meter and I want to strip it. Like, I can do that route, and that was 3.1. And the normal B&B is this. Like, I lost out on less than 200 damage, but I was able to steal Vorpal. And it only gets better with better starters. That was 3.4. That was 3.5. So I lost out on like what 100 damage in order to gain a lot more, like better positioning. You still get the same Oki, only now you're just going to be doing 20% more damage and also stealing Vorpal if you can. So learning Vorpal strip routes with this character is super huge, because VO for her is very, very nice. The chip damage also goes up in Veloff too. So let's say like they're in the pressure and you are in Veloff. Like let's say you did you did Vorpal strip and you have 2-2A up. Block. Like, look how much she's losing in chip. Like, she probably took a 2A's worth of damage off of nothing but chip damage and a throw. So you can do things like that. That will really, especially combined with burn damage, if you get the burn confirmed, that is going to really, really grind down on them. Like, let's burn her. And then just, like, have her block. Like, she's losing a ton of health there. So again, that can really grind on people, get them to mash, and then that's when you start frame trapping and counter hitting them. But yeah, there is a doc compiled by Shinso Beam, sometimes Fendo, or a School Bus, and myself that I can link, I can put down there. So I guess finally we'll just go over defensive options. She has, obviously, you know, this normal system mechanics, you know, raw throw tech, 1 AD for shield. She has to 3 AD instead of 2 AD because, you know, 2 AD is a stomp. So if you're trying to 2A and throw tech OS, you just do 3 instead of 2, because 2 will give you this. You can also anti-air throw OS using 3 ACD. And that's super good to stop up close assaults. So you don't have to guess between, you know, assault and throw. She can backdash OS. It's okay. Again, it's not like hides. It gets the job done though. It's good enough. And probably the last common one is like dive kick OS. Oops. I really need to clean up my inputs. But that's good, especially for like post CS situations. Again, dive kick is super good there. Also regarding post CS situations, ADP, because it's 5 frames and combos on trade, is also very good as a defensive option post CS. So let's say like you're like neutral CSing and they aren't pressing a button, ADP is generally going to beat out anything they do short of something that's invul. Or you can CS BDP, but that's a bigger risk. Up back shield on her is like okay, but she doesn't really have anything fast enough to catch something like, or like a big enough falling normal. But it's an option that she has. And you can OS with different things too, like depending on the matchup. Like if Hyde is running backdash mix up on you, oops, oh I switched to Hyde. Like if Hyde's running backdash mix up on you, right? Or he's like running that. Let's say he's like running backdash versus throw. You knew 236 AD for drill, which will catch the backdash and it'll also take the throw. It'll lose the round up delay throw though. Oops. Set this to random. So again, 236 AD, pretty good throw as for that kind of situation. So a pretty good defensive option. Other than that, those are the main OSs I use. I know some other people do other things. Like I know Fendo does fuzzy dive kick a lot. But she has, again, very strong defensive options, having a 3-frame DP, a meterless DP, a really, really ignorant mash option, an ADP and 5A. So this character really isn't generally lacking for any defensive options. It's just that she has low health. So if you get hit, it's generally going to hurt. And I think that just about covers it for what I wanted to talk about. So I guess I'll do a Q&A if anybody wants to ask any questions or was, you know, I unclear on stuff. Like, talk to me. Let me know. I saw somebody say that her force function is a literal unblockable. No, the force function is just an overhead. Which moves were bad confirms again? The bad confirms are 5A, 2A, and 2B, just because you can't get the force function buff link off those starters, which is basically where a lot of her stuff comes from. Before you said if you shield charge 2 and 4x that you're actionable during the bounce and can punish WAG, but does that work for install? Yes. I'm just going to set him to Gordo because that's the easiest character to do this with. EX Mortal Slide? Is that it? Oh god, he didn't block that. He just got hit. There we go. Yeah, like I got hit there. The input for Dive Kick OS is 1 7-2 CAD. Is Wagner honest? Yes. Unironically, yes. All she really does is just, like, she's not set playing you to death, you know, like Hilda is, you know, doing 50-50s. She's not, you know, throwing webs on you and making sure you can't move like Byakuya. She's just playing strike throw. If you get hit, you get hit. You have to kind of accept that. I want to know what backdash OS since I haven't heard of it. So backdash OS is for ABD. So if you do right, if somebody throws you immediately, you'll tech it. And if they just do a strike, then you'll backdash it. Let's have Gordo do. Let's have him do that. So yeah, just backdashing. It's a pretty basic OS. It loses out really hard to people just doing gapless lows because you can't block and low and input a backdash at the same time. And it also loses to people just hard calling out the backdash for like much higher reward. Everyone says Yuzu is a bad matchup for Wagner. Can you expand on why? I think Yuzu is a bad matchup for Wagner because, like I said earlier in the video, she can't really contest a lot of airspace well without really committing to something like 236B, and that's kind of where Yuzu excels. So Yuzu is really good at keeping her out. She can't reestablish pressure against Yuzu easily because Yuzu has 4B, which will catch pressure reset attempts with 4B. 4B will catch stuff like delay 236A, delay 214A. Wagner can't buff in neutral because she's just gonna get slashed at. It's pretty rough for Wagner. Like I think it's like either 5.5, 4.5 Yuzu or 6.4. Oh, okay. So the benefit of successfully shielding 22C. My bad. So if you successfully shield it, then it becomes only +6 instead of +9. And that means 5B isn't gapless. So we're just going to go to hide. Okay, so let's say hide is blocking 22C, right? Let's say he blocks it, but he doesn't shield the last hit. 5B is gapless. He can't do anything about it. But if he shields the last hit, then it only becomes +6, and then 5B isn't gapless anymore, and he can counterplay around it. Okay. Like, again, I got DP'd there because 5B wasn't gapless. So shielding the last hit is pretty. It's difficult. I'm not gonna lie, but it's pretty useful. It also pushes her out a little bit more. Like, look at the distance there, and the distance there. As a fresh player to both the game and Erica, how would you recommend I go best about learning her? Like, some of these combos look advanced, but I can see there's a general plan in mind in her with you when you speak. I don't know. I think everyone learns differently. I know the way I had to learn this game was like I can't lab at all. I just had to go out there and just grind games and just throw my head at the wall until I got it. But that's kind of what this tutorial is for, telling you, you know, about her moves, combo theory, pressure structure. And again, I can link a combo doc if you're having any trouble. You know, it's everything's all documented really nice in sections, from like easy stuff to like harder, more advanced optimal stuff. So the combo doc is really good. I suggest taking a look at it. Will I upload this on YouTube? Yes. Yes, I will be uploading this on YouTube. Her buff shield bash. Oh, I'm sorry, wire loop, and I didn't was checking. I didn't see it. Her buff shield bash loses to DP sometimes for me. Do I have to cancel into something else to win out? Yes, you can cancel if you guard point something. Then you can CS it. So let's say I'm doing. Let's say Hyde does wake up DP, right? And I have shield buff. You can CS this by holding it. And you get your punish. Force function CS is actually, yeah, I should have gone over this. Force function CS is definitely one of her best mix-up tools because pretty much anything short of blocking loses to it. Because if they try to invul through it, again, they just get it. If they try to veil off through it, then you just CS it and block. Veil off? Yeah, that's veil off. It can even catch jumps sometimes. Where's jump? That's force function. That's dash, so that's back dash, and so this is jump. There we go. So let's say somebody is like, you know, jumping in the corner. You force function, it catches jump outs. So generally, if your shield stuff is losing to DPs, either cancel it on a whiff into 623C, or just CS it. But you do have cancel options, even if those get baited by invul moves. Do you mind sharing safe jump setups? Okay, so let's say I end a combo with buff 22C because that guarantees the tech, remember? Or that guarantees the no tech. Like that. That's safe jumps. So he said hi to DP. Although the timing for it is pretty finicky. You have to get the timing for it right, but that does safe jump. Oh, I just did the full combo there, my bad. Like that. So that's a safe jump. I believe you get safe jump off, like, if you do veil off at the right height, I think you get a safe jump. Oops. Oh god. I had it that time. I just did dive kick. Motherfucker, let me get it. I'm gonna get this. Okay, I get it, thanks. Oh, okay. Well, if you get it, then you get it. I'm getting beat by Phonon matchup badly. What do you look for in getting in? Okay. Phonon. That's Mika. This is Phonon. Okay. Every time she does air fireball, literally every time, unless she is really far out, you just do force function 214 and she has to respect it. Or you do force function 236A. Either one works. just like you do that and you catch her landing. Once you get phone on cornered, her 2A is pretty much her only good mash option, and that reaches out to about here. So once you're like here or further, this is a sweet spot where she can't really press any buttons at all. She just has to basically try to shield you out or commit to DP. So you want to be like around here, around like 5B range, where you lock out a lot of her defensive options. Like even if she tries to up back fireball, like 5C will catch that. Are there any block strings that can lead to 236A being plus install without install? No, 236A is always minus. It is always -5 no matter what. Oh, any block strings that can lead to 24A without being plus. 214A will never be plus. It can't be plus, unbuffed, and gapless at the same time. So let's say I do 5C 214A at the range that it's plus, then it's not gapless. Like that would be +1, but you notice how she had time to match there? She got counter hit. Whereas like that is gapless, but that's minus. So no airtight block strings, but you can do things that lead you to a spacing where 5C 214A would be plus, like that. And like right here would be like that would be plus. Tips on the Chaos matchup and his Ozzy behind you super. I've only played Trill a handful of times. Like we played at Climax, and I kind of had to hit the ground running on matchups, but I did well. So you want to kill Ozzy basically before you do literally anything. That's Seth. That should be Hilda, and this is Chaos. No, that's Hilda. Which means who's that? That means this is Chaos. There we go. So, generally, like, the first rule of fighting this character as Wagner is you're basically going to be blocking. Chaos has neutral advantage. You want to find a place where he leaves Ozzy open and then just kill it. Like, it's dead, he can't summon it anymore. And then you start making your way in. If he throws out 6C, that's super good for you, because you can 236A and make him start blocking immediately. It's super minus. And then you're in, and Chaos doesn't really have a lot of options against Wagner close range, so then you just really, really want to press your advantage there, and then hopefully he dies. How do I get a tan like that Wagner color? Tanning salon? I don't know. I'll ask her how she does it. What's the best way to deal with a Byakuya? Oh boy, I definitely have experience in this matchup, as you guys probably know. So basically, Wagner Byakuya, Wagner really wants to press the advantage he has once she starts making him block, because he has the ability to counter poke her really hard with 5A and 2B. As for web setups, when Byakuya gets a hit, the main thing you should be looking to do is, first of all, check if you have meter. If you do, then your goal is to block the first 2 webs, wait for him to either push himself out, and you can assist with that with shield, obviously. But you make him push himself out, and then you do 236A to break the last drill, make him block, and then 22C, and then it's your turn. So I'm gonna have Byakuya put me in a web setup. like there. Oops. So he's gonna push me there. I'm going to block the webs. And you can drill out. So you basically, every time he puts you in a web setup, you want to be looking for places to drill because that will break webs and it'll force him to block. And if he gets hit by it, then he gets hit. If he doesn't get hit by it and he blocks, then you can 2-2C and you're +9 and you can start running your game plan from there. Any tips, general game plan for Wagner versus Eltnum? Eltnum's mid-range game leaves a lot to be desired, unlike Wagner's. Wagner has like she has a ton of tools in the mid-range that Eltnum doesn't have, and so you need to push your advantage there, basically. Like, compare 5B to like Wagner's 5B. It's not even a contest. And then the buttons that she has that would be able to contest Wagner, you know, from mid-range are super slow. Whereas Wagner, you know, you can just press 6B, like from there, you can hit her. You have 5C, you have like running 5B. So it's really there, you need to, you know, establish dominance and then use that to push your advantage. Remember, you can't go as wild on her as you can with a lot of other characters because she does have a meterless DP and a 5-frame move. But generally, around like here and here, she only really has gunshot, and that's like 12-frame startup. So, you know, just like mashing 6B around this range really helps. So does 5C. 6B is mainly the button you want to use in this matchup, though. And dealing with Eltnum pressure, you basically, what I do is pay attention to what normals she used. If she's used 2B, then that's a pretty good sign to start shielding because that move moves her forward a whole lot as in compared to 5B. So then you know a pressure reset is probably going to come soon with like charge or enhanced gunshot. And once you shield that and force her to run back in, she's sacrificing her frame advantage, and then you can mash. What's the waifu tier list? S tier is Wagner. I don't have any other waifus in this game because more than one waifu will ruin your waifu. But the best girls in this game, best girl is Wagner, obviously. And then Eltnum is good. Yuzu is good. I think that's about it. Line and Mika are like actual children. Hilda's whack. Orie is like blander than unseasoned chicken. And then Nanase's in middle school, so I'm all set. How do you play Wagner against Batista? It's a lot of dash blocking and neutral. Where's Batista? Is this Batista? Yay, it's Batista. So it's a lot of dash blocking. Like with most matchups, Batista has the advantage round start in neutral. She's probably going to try to zone you out with balls. She also has laser. So the main important thing is dash blocking, shielding until you get CS, and then using that to just kind of barrel your way in. Oops. Also remember, like blow for blow, Batista's buttons are all slower than yours. So if you want to mash basically in a scramble, you'll pretty much have the upper hand unless she decides to, you know, use an invul move like dive or like a flash kick. It can be really hard for Batista to stop redashes though. Like stopping both redashes and assault, because she doesn't have a dedicated anti-air, you know, again, aside from flash kick, means, you know, you can get to certain spacings, you can make 2 BB whiff and then like assault C or something. But it's basically you have to win Vorpal before you can even really start playing the game against Batista. Are there combo docs for everyone? I think so. You'd have to check in each character's Discord though, or their channel in Discord. But I'm pretty sure every character has a doc. Why is Vorpal so important? Just because of CS? Well, that's one of the reasons. You basically want it. You want it less than you want the opponent not to have it, if that makes any sense. Like CS is a way that again, you can kind of force your turn. That's really important on characters like Wagner. But it's also important, it's way more important to like deny Batista from having CS, so she can't like 50-50 you or something. Wagner wants CS because it makes her buffs faster, so you can have better chances of grabbing it in neutral. And then facing down a double buff Wagner in neutrals is a super scary thing, because it turns all of her like risk reward on just like plain dumb YOLO stuff into like 4K on almost any hit and corner carry. So it's super strong. It also gives you, you know, the 10% damage buff. You can grid thrust without being grid broken. But it's mostly for CS. It's like the most powerful mechanic I've pretty much ever seen in the fighting game. It's very centralizing. Three frames faster? I think it's 2 frames, because when you do throw 2-2A without Vorpal, it's 0, but when you do throw 2-2A with Vorpal, it's +2. Likewise, if you do throw 2-2B without Vorpal, you're -2, but throw 2-2B with Vorpal becomes 0. So I think it's 2 frames. Y'all ugly. Nah, I'm mad fresh. What should I be doing as Nanase against Wagner? It seems like she beats most of my options. I think actually Nanase goes pretty even with Wagner. Her pokes are pretty decent to use against Wagner. Use a lot of 2B and 2C to kind of like push your way out of things, or 5B and 2C. Remember, you can set fireballs around mid-screen and run behind them. She can force function them, but at a certain distance, if she does anything and you dash block into it, she's going to be minus and you can take your turn from there. So I guess basically just like shield her pressure more. 2C is a really good poke to use against Wagner. So is 5B. But just, I think normal Nanase stuff just does really well against her. It's the future. Mika turn 18. Hit that or nah? Nah. I'm already dedicated to Wagner. You can't make me be unloyal. Thank you for doing this guide. It has been super informative. Oh, no problem. This has been something I've been wanting to do actually for a while. I just haven't had the time or like the microphone to do it. Any advice for Seth? When he blinks, you ADP every time. He's going to try to do like a lot of like cute stuff into like run up. Like if he's close to you, generally you want to do 5A. 5A stops a lot of like up close jump stuff like I was going over earlier. Seth does have faster buttons than you when you're close up, but you can kind of bait those out. Like his 2B is 6, but it doesn't have much range. Same thing with his 2C being 8, but it has less range than your 2C. So you kind of want to bait his buttons if he's trying to kind of like mash out or abare out, and whiff punish him for that when you have him in pressure. Neutral is kind of a huge scramble, but it really is. It always is like that against Seth. What I normally do is like grab buffs. If I see him in the air, I'll try to contest him with ADP or 236B. And then just you really need to try to lock him down. And once you have him locked down, it gets a lot easier from there. Because Seth has no health and Wagner is a high damage character. It's perfectly possible to like kill him in 2 confirms if you do everything right. The combo doc will be on your Twitter, you said? Yes. It is also in the Discord. Yes. Is Wagner's working relationship with Adelheid whack? Yes or no? She kind of sees her as like this sort of like all-powerful dear leader figure, but also wants to fight her at the same time. I don't know. I want their relationship to be kind of fleshed out more. We'll hope for that in the sequel. What's the highest damage combo you can do? Okay, so I was labbing out high damage stuff, and I discovered that this character can do like I don't know anything in practical, but she does have practical 7K combos. Oops, I set him to not block. This should be about 7K, maybe 7.1. There we go, 7,026. So the reason that's practical, again, is because you can do Veil Off Strip in almost any combo. And you can set up mix-up off that. So let's say you do Veil Off Strip 2-2B, and they get hit by Force Function, they just took 7K. What do you use to catch Aurier's backdash? I mainly use 236A for hunting backdashes, or if I'm really confident, I'll just keep running at them and I'll do 66C. 2-1 like charge 214B also works pretty well for catching it, but I think if you're at the tip and you hit her, then you won't get a confirm. It's just a hit unless you CS it. What do you think separates a good Wagner from a great Wagner? I think the main separation in like great Wagners from like good Wagners is that, again, like I was saying with this character, it's really easy to just kind of go ham all the time on offense, but because of the game that Uni is, you'll just be like feeding them grid. and then eventually your turn will end, and you have burned all of your resources, so you can be put in a pretty rough spot. So I think the ability to show restraint and not always go in all the time, and basically knowing when to play your cards, separates a great Wagner from a good one. Does Wagner wear heels as a sort of power limiter? No, that's what her mask is for. Apparently she's even stronger with it, but it got taken away. Are you dropping this game for the Power Rangers versus game? Nah, I don't see myself dropping Uni for any other game, really. This is a game that's very close to me and close to my heart. I do want to try out the Power Rangers game, though. I think it looks interesting. Other than Clearlamp, what international players do you think people should look towards at EVO? Oh, okay. So, you know, Clearlamp, obviously, he won CEO Taku and Climax of Night. I'm getting my run back, by the way. Don't ever forget that. I'm getting my run back. But I think for like Westerners, or yeah, people in the West who are coming over, like from Europe. Hiyari is the best player in Europe. He actually beat me at CEO Taku 3-0. I'm getting my run back there too, by the way. Then there's Eagle, another really, really strong Wagner player. Wati, a Hilda player. And I'm unsure if DHD, who's like a very strong European merc, I don't know if he's going. Oh, then Dazzards, who is a strong Seth. From Japan, I would say, well, obviously Lamp, Kure, who might be the best player in Japan, point blank, period. Yuzuriha. Ryusei is going. I think he's like the number 2 merc in arcades. Takashi, the number 2, and Kidu, he was also at Climax. Who else was going? Notes is going. The best Carmine. I heard Shacho was going. I don't know that for sure, though. Ryu and Nishine, the number 2 and number 1 Ories, respectively. And then I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh yeah, and then Eve is going, who plays he plays Fonon and Mika. So those are all the international players to watch out for that I know of at this moment. So when I tried to do a Sivo combo, I ended with 2-2C in the super, but the 2-2C always eats up all the Veil off meter. Does the amount it takes differ from high health to low health? Yes. So 2-2C, so like with Sivo, you get more Veil off time the lower you are. So at less than 30% health, you can do 2 supers into IW or IWEX, but above you only get 1. So like I do this. Like, I could do 3 supers off that. But if I only had, let's say, I don't know, like 70% health. Oops. I could only do 2 supers. So I would do this instead. So the amount you gain, or the amount of meter that you use determines on your health. If you have orange health, then you get 3 supers. If you have green health, you only get 2. What's max meter damage off Assault JACS? I do this. And then you just stick on IW at the end, and I think this should be 3.7. 3.8, yeah, that's pretty much max damage. If you're in Veil Off, you can do this, I think. Oops. You get a bit more, 4.1. There's a route where you can do Assault JA in the 5K, but for the life of me, I can't remember it. And I only did it once. And I can't do it. I think it's on Fendo's YouTube channel, though, or his Twitter. He posted Assault JA to 5K because we were kind of like, we were theory fighting it out one day. And then we were just talking. And then he just had the idea. He figured out how to do it. Are you looking forward to winning Evo? I'll do my best. No guarantees. I think there's a strong chance for me to make top 8. But tournaments are wild. You never know what could happen. So I'm just gonna get out there and I guess do my best, play my best, and you know we'll see where the cards fall. When Wagner does ADP, delay DP, super, can Akatsuki parry all that? Yes, he can, because his parry is frame 1 active. So Akatsuki can just, if Wagner tries to kind of meme with ADP like dive or ADP CDP, he can just parry and say no. Do you think people overstate Wagner's strengths? Yes. I don't think she's some, you know, huge unbeatable titan or whatever. She's just strong. I mean, she's very top tier, I'm not gonna deny that, but I think that people kind of they definitely do overstate her strengths. Stage and music tier list. Okay. The only stage that is S tier is Park. Park is S tier, and I also like the Mall, and I think it's like Yuzu stage, like the temple stage. As for music tier list, Forceful Step, Mutual Situation, and Erudite Eyes are S. A is Open War again, Blood Drain again, Nightwalker, and Snow Sisters. Then everything else is in B, and I think everything else is in B except Bad Surface, which is whack. Bad Surface and Maximized Power are just Omega whack. When is the combo doc going up? After I stream, I'll put it on my Twitter. Are you going to see Otaku after Evo? Yes, I am. We should play. Whose songs are those? They are Waldsteins and Carmines. I don't like those characters either, and they also have bad themes. There's a Discord? Yeah, there's a Discord. It's I wonder if you can like pin things in the stream chat. I actually have no idea. Yeah, Walt's theme is just boring because it's just like the same riffs over and over again. So it looks like the questions are dying down, but this is fun. I hope I was able to answer all of your questions. I hope it's been, you know, informative. Ah, I dropped it. But before I go, I figured I should like show you guys the max damage combo of like 5B or 5C. I just hope I'm actually good enough to do it. There you go. Learn this combo, kids. It's 6.3. How do I play this game? I mean, you should know considering you're practically the person who taught me how to play. But you play Hyde, so you know what? Here's how you play Hyde. Just do that over and over and over again. And then sometimes you do this. There you go. Isn't 6B super negative? Yes, but I mean, you just cancel it. There you go. Or if you think they're not gonna mash, you just do like 6B, 2B. This +1. Or you can do that. Just do 6B. It's the best. Who is the most least whack character in the game? And who is the most least OD? Most whack is Line. Actually, wait, no. Most whack is Hilda. Least whack is Hyde. I like watching Hyde. Hyde's a really cool character to watch. Most OD is Seth, and least OD is Enkidu. I put 30 hours into this game, and I can't think of a main. That was me with Multi-Blood, so I tried to pick a character and stick with it. But ultimately, I think if you put in that much time and you can't, you know, decide on a character, pick a top tier. English translation of most whack. Hilda, most whack, free. Do I have a tentative tier list? I think S tier is Seth, Yuzu, Wagner, Batista, Phonon. A tier is. I think S tier is Seth, Yuzu, Wagner. I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. S tier is Wagner or Seth, Yuzu, Wagner, Batista, Phonon. A tier is Eltnum, Byakuya, Hyde, Aurier, Merkava. Everyone else falls in some kind of like B tier, and then like B minus is Enkidu. Just play your waifu. That is exactly what I did. It's funny because like I played EL. I was like super bad at it, and I was also in Character Crisis for like almost the entirety of the game. And then like I saw Wagner's concept art, and I was like, okay, if this character ever gets in, I'm at least going to give the game another shot. And then ST dropped, and she was announced, and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going in super hard on Under Night, and then you know, and now we're here. So I'd say things paid off. You just got to do it for your waifu. That's what you got to do it for. No one else. If you were in Character Crisis the entire time, what drove you to keep playing? I just like the game. Like, I like the system mechanics. The only other game around me was Blaze Blue, Chrono Phantasma, and I wasn't really feeling that game for a bunch of reasons. But Hakumen's fun. What traits would you say each of the strongest Wagner players stand out when compared against each other? I think I have the best pressure and like the best mix-ups. And like I think my game sense is really strong. Fendo is a lab monster. He is prepared for a lot of situations that like I personally am not, because I don't learn through labbing. I just learn through throwing myself at things. So I think if like there would be a lot of situations where he would come up with in a matchup that I would kind of be unfamiliar with, but he would be more aware of, and he would have countermeasures for. What character do you think people sleep on? I don't think any character is like really slept on. Like, I think every character is everybody knows every character is like pretty good. If I had to say one though, I would probably pick Gordo. Gord mains are pretty pessimistic about their character, and I don't understand why. I think a lot of people still have to really do like the really dirty stuff with Merkava. I know some people don't put Merkava in high tier, but I definitely do. Like I fight AO It's Dave pretty often, and like the mix-ups he puts me in are super scary, and I don't see any other Merkava doing that. And I think once they start doing that, this character is really going to rise up in like the tier list. Do you think 2AD should be buffed? Yes. I think 2AD actually does need to be buffed because it's pretty useless now, aside from like one mix-up tool. The ideas I had for it was that give it some sort of minimum damage, like maybe just like only 100 or something, and make it EX cancelable. So you would be able to do like 2AD CDP for like a high damage ender. So like this would work without CS. I think that'd be like a really strong, I think that would be a really good buff for her. It would make it so that you wouldn't always have to choose the Oki. You could just go straight for damage. Where's the tutorial on picking the best Wagner color? Let me show you. Let me show you. Okay, so obviously my color is the best. Number 10, Vermilion Edge, is the color I use when this color isn't available. Where's Sakura Blade? This color is also really powerful. So like those are top 3. And then this color is good. This color is good. And then I like Fendo and Eagle's colors. Difficulty of Yuzu compared to Wagner? Yuzu is way harder than Wagner is. Because like Wagner doesn't have like a bunch of slide holds or like really execution heavy stuff. Like the most execution heavy stuff she has is like the VO whiff routes, which are kind of prone to dropping, and alternating routes depending on if you have buffs in Vorpal or not. Other than that, our execution is pretty easy. Do you think 2-2C should have more plus frames? No, never. I actually think +9 was chosen like very specifically. because if you don't shield it, since 5B is 7 frames, then it becomes gapless. But if you do shield it, then it becomes plus 6, and then 5B isn't gapless, so you can counterplay around it. If 22C was even just plus 10, one more frame, then 5B would be gapless, even on shield, which means you could never play around it ever at all. Been seeing a dude on NetPlay called Vermilion Saber. I heard about that guy and I kind of want to play him. Rating 1 out of 10 on default Wagner color. 8. I like it. I like it. I can get behind it. Red and white is a very it's a very aesthetically pleasing color. Best character music. Well, Amika's theme is my favorite, Forceful Steps, so I'll go with that. All right, I'll take one more question and then I'm probably gonna sign off. Stop being a hater. Thick thighs save lives. They do indeed. That's some good taste. Best pants option for Wagner. Okay, if I wasn't using this color, I would be using Vermilion Edge because it has black leggings and those are godlike. So I'll go with leggings. And I guess that's it. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys got something out of this. It was really fun for me to do, actually. Later on, I do want to do kind of a more in-depth Wagner matchup thing. Like, I'll pick a character that you guys are basically having trouble with and basically explain how the matchup goes, show you some, like, live stuff. But that's definitely something I want to do, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I'm going to be signing off. I will post a combo doc on my Twitter before the end of the night, so watch out for that. So I guess thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you later. Okay, that should fix the issue I was having earlier. Guess I'll just wait for a couple of people to get in here. Alright, just gonna test sound real quick. No, your stream didn't freeze. I'm just waiting for a few more people, I guess, to get in before I start. The Bitatsu happens a lot in this set, and the set where I played him at the local. I get hit a lot by it too. Spoiler warning. But yeah, I think there's like a lot of stuff really to, I guess, digest here. After playing him for a while, I don't know, I really started to look at, I guess, like my spacing and stuff more. Not only that, but just like analyzing, I guess, his choice of defensive options. Like I've taken a look over this privately on my own. I'm sure he has too. I don't know if he plans on streaming his own like analysis or whatnot, but definitely think it's worth going over. All right, I guess I'll just start. I don't think he had his color then, or did he? Actually, no, he should, because I should have all of them. Save fix stage. I think I let him choose a song, so I'm wondering if he chose a wax song. Also, if the music is too loud and like overpowers my voice, just let me know. You don't pick wax songs. That's good. Wait, didn't you pick Nanase's theme one time we were playing in casuals? I don't want to hear it. Like, what the hell? Nightbot warned you. Okay, so I think we just went into it. I got hit. Tried catching the backdash with 5B, and that's something that I think he baits out earlier in the set. And I crushed him with this all JC, beats the 2B. I think here it's like, I had a bit of trouble like trying to open him up, and then I just let him out of the corner for free. Mashed out on his CS. And then he gained CS. And I Veil off there, and I dropped the combo. Me doing that is going to be a recurring thing. Like, doing the VO, and then either doing it high enough so that he's out of the corner, or either just whiffing it and having it red combo. But I think that's something that comes back to bite me later on in the set. And also just the opportunity cost of Veil Off, I think, will start to kind of show itself. And it's something I've been thinking of. It's definitely something I've been thinking of, that the reward for doing VO and combo is directly proportional to how easy it is for you to open someone up. Which, I mean, given an opponent of this caliber, can be kind of difficult. You know, it's like a lot of him spacing, trying to bait out something, and I hit him with the Assault JA. That's actually going to be a rarity. Oh yeah, got him with the 6XC. into corner, double buff. I have CS. I hit him with a long run, and he doesn't bite on that either. And then I get he might have failed to buffer DP, but he died for it. So I take the first game pretty clean. Yeah, this is the first to 10, and then I'm gonna go over the bracket match in at the local at Boston Blue Beat. So on to game 2. I took the first game pretty cleanly, and then I just walk up and to dash up 2A. I realize that his turn is over when he presses Tatsu. A lot of people aren't pressing that, but it's -2. Feel free to press stuff after it. Right now, I'm just content with blocking. I have vocal. No reason for me to commit too much. He gets a straight hit, but doesn't confirm off it. And I realized that I was going to lose CS anyway, so I CS and whoa, wait. Was that a Tatsu DP? It looked like it, and it's something I would probably get hit by. Yeah, I was going to lose cycle anyway, so I might as well just gain the meter. God damn it, it was a Tatsu DP. I hope you're proud of yourself. A Tatsu DP. I'm mad that hit. And it wasn't the only one, because he did a Tatsu. I think he did a Tatsu VO. I think he did that in bracket. Oh, he whiffed the a Tatsu. I was counting on him either running into it or whiffing a Tatsu. So either of those situations, sword buff would have won. And then he forgets about ADP. And then it's ADP trade, and then he dies. I think Akatsuki, if he trades with his ADP, he has advantage. Because I think the hits on his is longer than Wagner's. I'm not like completely sure. But at least knowing what I know about the two moves, I think that would be right. And see, like I said, that's going to be the first of a lot of Tatsus that I get hit by. I dash block out, but I get hit by the low. I think he stuck out that low to catch dash block, but wasn't ready to confirm off it. Drops the combo. And I was ready for something. I think I was trying to just counter poke out with 5C, and then I catch a startup of Tatsu. That was a blessing, because Tatsu actually low crushes, I think, frame 4. So if I had been any slower, I probably would have just died. Yep, I have